came initially from the Texas penitentiaries. So it came from the penal system. A couple of guys came home from prison and were using the word, and we were young guys looking up to them, and we didn't know what Trill meant, but we wanted to be that. So we just kind of mirrored the way they carried themselves, and gangster and a gentleman, so to speak.
A matter of survival, I suppose, depending on the environment that you're in, it's being consistent is important.
Absolutely.
To survival on all planes. Doesn't matter what world you're in.
Some environments, being able to change, being a chameleon works, and in some environments, just being that one factor that everyone can kind of count on is another way. Yeah. And that's kind of been who I wanted to be, just somebody that, because a lot of the people that in my life and the people I've come across, we have damaged backgrounds, come from divorce and drugs and alcoholism and violence and all these different things, and, very unstable backgrounds. Mm-hmm. And, you look for stability in people and activities and whatnot. And I understand that. I've been through some of that. So I try to offer myself as a walking, talking bit of stability for people to kind of see how to carry yourself, in case you don't know.
Is it because the culture, of maybe where the word comes from, maybe seemed like it's a street culture, a street, way of life? Is it something for you that's defined by, like, coming from hustling and having to have a code of honors amongst the street, just amongst that community? Or for you, has it something that evolved into something that's greater and that's sort of may not encompass that, or maybe it does?
Well, I think it's a bit of both. I think, it has its street credibility, which kind of entices people mm-hmm. into wanting to be a part of the whole Trill movement. But then as you really start to look and see how people who call themselves Trill really carry themselves, you realize that it's not just about keeping it Trill. Does not mean keeping it hood. Does not mean keeping it gangster, any about that. If you're a gangster, then always be that. Right. If you're not a gangster, if you're, square or whatever you want to call it, then always be that. And I can respect you for admitting that you're not a gangster and you're not about that life. I can respect that more than people who aren't but choose to propose themselves as being a gangster or hardcore. Being Trill just means really just being true to who you are. You don't have to be a gangster to be Trill. So you could be Trill right now.
I am Trill right now.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
What I really appreciate about the way that you define that right there, that it wasn't masculine or feminine. It really was open.
Oh, no, it's definitely open to anyone at all who stays true to who they are. You don't have to be, like I said, you don't have to be a man or a woman to be Trill. Either one works. Your dog could be Trill, I guess, in that sense. But,
Too far.
But we might have went out on a limb on that one. But yeah, no, it's just really about knowing who you are, knowing what it is you want people to see you as, and staying true to that, regardless of whether it's the popular thing to do or not.
Right. And what does that do if more and more people live like that, what does that do for hip-hop culture, for rap music, and for, society in general, those three being separate things?
Well, hip-hop has always been about, braggadocio and that kind of thing, and there's always been room for exaggeration sometimes in entertainment. The problem becomes flat-out lying in hip-hop, and that's been a big problem of what's wrong with some of hip-hop. And then the other side of that is that sometimes in popular culture, we relate too many things to hip-hop culture just because they seem to be like, just because you're a rapper doesn't necessarily mean you embody the hip-hop culture as a whole, as what hip-hop was initially created to represent, just because a person raps. And then, like, a lot of the bad things that we see from rap music gets attributed to hip-hop because certain people don't understand the distinction between the two.
Right.
Rap is a part of hip-hop, but it's not. But every rapper doesn't represent the hip-hop culture. Every DJ does not represent the hip-hop culture. Mm-hmm. Hip-hop. Most people think hip-hop is music. They don't really understand that hip-hop is a culture. It's a lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It's much more than just the songs you hear on the radio or on your favorite commercial or in a movie trailer. It's much more deeper than that. The principles behind the culture of hip hop are much more deeper than that. But we see these things, and we see religion getting, people twist religion to make it mean what they want it to mean, and we see that in hip hop as well.